information.
Brainwashing, mind control. Animals follow their instinct, and this is why they are healthy. Humans are unhealthy because they follow somebody's beliefs. All kids want to eat meat. You can see kids eating meat and vegetables. What do they like? You would never be a vegan if you would listen to your cravings, especially when you're pregnant.
Every other week I see clips like this, mostly from committed anti-vegans, saying things along the lines of,
"Look at these vegans making food that mimics animal products. Just listen to your body. If you crave meat, fish, dairy or eggs, go get it. It's just your body telling you what it needs."
And then, in an attempt to prove their point, they point to children's preferences for meat and other animal products and how animals always seem to instinctively know what's best for them. Now, to be perfectly clear, I have seen no evidence of humans having instinctive cravings for animal products, but for the sake of the argument, I will just accept that premise for the first part of this video, because as you will see very soon, even if we had instinctual animal product-specific cravings, then that would still not be a reliable guide for what we should eat. And so yeah, that is what this video is about. Fallible instincts, why most children like and some vegans crave meat, fish, dairy or eggs. Let's go. Instincts though.
I want to raise my children to be people who question things, people who do research, people who make decisions based on facts and feelings together. And we are animals, but we are unique animals with a distinct cognitive ability for contemplation, for conservation, and for cooperation for a greater good.
You just described brainwashing, mind control. Animals follow their instinct, and this is why they are healthy. Humans are unhealthy because they follow somebody's beliefs.
Let me introduce you to Thicky the fat squirrel. Now I am sure we can all agree that this chunky boy is most certainly not mind controlled by anyone or following any ideology or religion or anything like that. He is very much instinct driven. How did Chunky Boy get so fat then? Well, he simply ate more calories than his body burned. Whether you are a human or another animal, if you have virtually unlimited access to energy-dense food, don't get adequate exercise, and have hardly any immediate dangers in your environment, like predators to punish you for being unhealthy, for example, then you will likely become fat sooner or later. It is simple as that. Now, of course, in the case of us humans, our ideologies and beliefs will influence our consumption habits, and with that our health too. Be it veganism, carnism, or any other ism. And yes, of course, being obese is only one of many examples of what bad health can look like. But the point I am making with this example is, listening to your body, to your instincts, isn't as reliable as you might think for achieving optimal health and avoiding potential health issues. Okay, but if it's not necessarily
brainwashing, mind control
that leads human and non-human animals to bad lifestyle choices, then what does? Why can't we rely on our instincts for leading a healthy life, especially for something as basic as food choices? Nature is pretty good at equipping everyone with the necessary tools to survive and thrive, right? Well, yes, but actually no. Two things here. First of all, nature cares about procreation, passing on genes, survival of the species, not so much about the longest possible life with optimal health. So even if something like meat consumption has helped with surviving in times of scarce food availability, it does not mean it won't cause any deadly health conditions in the long run. Because if you develop some chronic diseases after you have successfully procreated and raised the next generation, then yeah, in evolutionary terms, such diseases don't matter all that much. But now, secondly, and what's maybe even more important for our question, why can't we rely on our instincts, is nature sure as heck did not equip any member of any species with tools to deal with mankind's ingeniousness and foolishness. And so these days, even before procreation happens, instincts can be problematic. To show you what I mean, let me now introduce you to
The Australian jewel beetle. The male's mission in life is simple. Find a female and mate with her. Male jewel beetles are always on the lookout for attractive females, like this fine specimen. But what makes her irresistible? Well, that's not too complicated. She's got to be big, she's got to be orange, and she's got to be covered in dimples. Give a male all three, and she's just gorgeous. It's sex on 6 legs. But what's all this got to do with beer? In Australia, a beer bottle like this is known as a stubby. And believe it or not, it nearly wiped out the jewel beetle. To this questing male, all his sexual fantasies come true when he finds a discarded stubby. It's certainly big, it's the right colour, and it's got dimples. It's everything to whip a male into a frenzy. Such a beauty doesn't, of course, go unnoticed. Before long, it's covered in rampant males, and they're not keen to move elsewhere. Something had to be done. The genuine females were just sitting around unnoticed. Try as they might, they couldn't compete. Mr. Right had taken to the bottle. In the end, it was the beer industry that came to the jewel beetle's aid. Not previously known for its wildlife conservation, it ended up saving a whole species from extinction by simply changing the bottle design. Soon, the female jewel beetles were once again the only object of the male's affections. And they all lived happily ever after.
Now, of course, this clip has nothing to do with our food choices. Or has it? You see, the mechanism that makes this beetle want to mate with a beer bottle over actual females is the same as the mechanism that draws people to types of media that overly stimulates their hunger for excitement and accomplishment. It is also the same mechanism that makes people prefer cherry candy over actual cherries, or salty, greasy potato chips over baked potatoes, or salted, greasy sausages over unsalted meats, and so on. You get the idea. The term for the mechanism that is responsible for these unhealthy tendencies is supernormal stimulus. In a nutshell, it describes a stimulus that elicits a response more strongly than the stimulus for which it evolved. If that sounds confusing, let me give you some examples. A mama bird might have evolved to take greatest care of its biggest eggs because it will increase the chance of a healthy and strong baby bird that can survive and eventually pass on their genes too. So if you now put a plastic ball with roughly the same colors in the nest of mama bird that is like 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times as large as normal eggs could ever get, then the bird will still prefer that unnatural plastic ball over its actual eggs. Or let's say the baby birds have already hatched and you would now put a dummy bird into the nest with a fake beak that has an unnaturally bright orange color and is opened much wider than the other baby birds' beaks. Once again, the mama bird would choose to take care of the dummy instead of the real birds. And of course, there are tons more examples of this supernormal stimulus to be found in all kinds of animals across all kinds of species. The main difference between humans and other animals is that our more advanced minds allow us to see the supernormal stimulus much more easily for what it is and choose, if we really want to overcome the urge to act on it. So yeah, in the society we created, it can sometimes actually be beneficial for us to overcome our instinctual urges. Bottom line of this part is, instincts are not a reliable guide for making food choices for optimal health and longevity. And once again, I'm not saying we have instinctual urges for eating meat and stuff like that, but even if that was the case, it wouldn't really mean much. Children like meat though.
All kids want to eat meat. Gojiman's Sunbird made a great video, which I will link in the description. You can see kids eating meat and vegetables. What do they like?
This is a really short part, because with all the things we discussed already, there really isn't much left to say. Kids do like to eat a lot of things. That doesn't necessarily mean it's needed for their survival, let alone for optimal health. Should be a no-brainer, but Cravings though.
You've got to try these just eggs.
Oh my fucking god. Did you see how she rammed the fucking fake eggs into her mouth? You need to eat actual eggs. That's obviously what she wants. You would never be a vegan if you would listen to your cravings.
Why now do some people crave meat, fish, dairy or eggs while on a vegan diet? And do they really? Well, it depends. The issue is usually one or more of the following. Number 1, probably the most common one. They enjoyed the taste of a particular dish or food product that they grew up with. And it's not the animal product itself that they crave, but the fact that they grew up eating it. Food preferences aren't completely set in place at birth. Environmental factors like what we grew up with eating play an important role too. For example, at my work I tutor Chinese people, and North Chinese people often tell me that they can't stand dishes from Southern China and vice versa. So yeah, for some people the cravings might be about the spice combination, the grease, the saltiness, the texture of a particular meat dish that they grew to enjoy. If this is a type of craving you have, just look online for ways to prepare a veganized version, or if you have that option, look for places to buy a veganized version of whatever you crave. Number 2. They are not eating enough calories. And so foods that are extremely dense in calories, such as meat, can suddenly start to seem appealing. In this case, however, it's not an animal product specific craving. This is really a common issue, because plant foods tend to have less calories relative to their volume than animal products have. And so if this is an issue for you, just track your foods on Chronometer for a few days and make sure to hit that calorie goal. And if you don't want to, or feel like you can't increase your volume all that much, then you can incorporate things like nut butters into your diet as well. They are extremely energy dense and generally easy to add to your diet. Number 3. They don't have enough variety in their diet. Maybe they eat pasta with tomato sauce every day, or they follow some raw food diet with barely any fats. Whatever kind of unbalanced diet, they are simply missing out on nutrients. Nutrients that they can get on a vegan diet if they just do it the right way. And if this is you, please get over your laziness or stop your restrictive fat diet and act like a responsible person. Eat a large variety of whole plant foods and you will be fine. To get started, you can, once again, use Chronometer to track what you eat for just a few days, then look at what nutrients you're missing out on and simply include more plant-based sources for any nutrient you might currently not get enough from. Also, don't forget that B12 and vitamin D are nutrients of concern for everyone living in modern society, so just take a supplement. It costs a few cents per day. It is worth it. Number 4. Despite actually having a varied diet, they still don't get all the essential nutrients or have trouble digesting plant foods. First of all, a healthy individual won't have problems on a proper vegan diet, but there will be the odd one out who actually does have a condition where they cannot convert some nutrients that well, or maybe they do have a damaged gut from their previous lifestyle, which leads to digestion issues that a healthy body wouldn't have. And so for those or similar reasons, following an otherwise healthy vegan diet is much harder for them. And once again, any cravings here are not animal product specific, but due to underlying health issues that lead to a lack of nutrition or bad reactions to certain plant foods. People that are affected by issues like this, I can only suggest, get the necessary blood tests to check your nutrient levels to see if you do have any absorption issues, or if you think you have bad gut health, you might want to get tests in that area. Many people make the mistake and just guess, or listen to their instincts and drink piss, or listen to what magic mushrooms told them. Yeah, in that case, you will obviously run into a wall sooner or later. So don't just guess, take the necessary tests so you actually know what's going on. And once you have figured out what underlying issue you have, you can work on fixing these issues with the help of professionals. And at the end of the day, you will still be able to eat a vegan diet and get all the nutrients you need. So yeah, that's the list. If you think I missed something or got something wrong, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. But from all that I've seen throughout the years, there simply is no good evidence which would support this
humans need and crave animal products
narrative. It's just a bunch of anecdotes that are worth as much as 100-year-old men claiming their secret to life is smoking cigarettes every day. The fact remains, the human body does not care where the nutrients come from. It doesn't care whether it gets its calcium from dairy or tofu or collard greens. It does not care whether you give it preformed vitamin A by eating liver of some animal, or if you give it beta-carotene by eating sweet potatoes that the body then converts to vitamin A. It also does not care if you get vitamin B12 from eating a cow's tongue or if you take a supplement for it. You get the idea. Literally all that is important is that you get your required nutrients, and it is a scientific fact that you can get all your nutrients on a proper vegan diet. Conclusion: nature simply did not equip humans or squirrels or anyone else with tools to properly deal with modern human civilization. We live in a largely unnatural world with unnaturally high numbers of humans, unnatural animals, unnaturally large access to foods, unnatural everyday items, unnatural types of foods. We have an unnaturally large impact on our environment, and so on and so on. So arguing for all natural ways of eating in this unnatural world we created is naive at best and doesn't do anything to solve the massive ethical and sustainability issues that we face in modern times. Sure, you can argue that we could just tear down modern society, kill off a few billion people and go back to caveman times, but good luck with convincing others of that. I'm not sure how you feel about this, but I think that instead of becoming cavemen without internet, washing machines or freaking toilet paper, we should rather push for continued progress. Things like doing our best to find solutions for existing and future problems, and then also actually applying those solutions, you know, such as eating a vegan diet to reduce a lot of needless suffering and environmental damage in the world. I mean, just imagine what mankind's collective ingenuity could achieve if we finally got our together and focused on working towards peace and progress instead of war and greed. Anyway, that's about it for today. Personally, I haven't experienced cravings for animal products in the 5 or 6 years that I've been vegan, but I'm curious about you. Have you ever had any such cravings? If so, how did you deal with them? I would be curious to know. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please slap like, subscribe and all that jazz. And if you want to super support me, you can do so on Patreon. It's always appreciated and helps me out a lot. So see you next time, take care and bye bye.